Yes. Live, oh. It's been a minute still. It's been a minute, took a little break, you get me, but we're back. Yes, so I'm reacting to the fixtures list that's just literally come out a few hours ago. I've dissected some of the fixtures, some of our bogey teams, some of the teams that we do well against traditionally, but then there's also a group of teams where we tend to struggle, namely away from home. There's certain teams we struggle against, period. I'm going to get into that. And I also want to talk about Luton, special mention to them, because I feel like they're going to be kind of a niche game. It's going to be different to playing Luton away, I believe, is going to be different to many a side in this league. So I'll have a little section to speak about Luton. Also, obviously, I want to first start off with the first few games. Maybe let's go for the first 7 games. So that will be the first 2 months of the season. Do you know what? I want to include the Man City Chelsea because October is looking a bit tasty. That's a tough month. I'll do the first 10 games of the season. So 3 in August, 4 in September, 3 in October. I was gonna do the first 6, but considering we've got Man City and Chelsea in October, I might as well do the first 10. So without any further ado, I want to do basically a fixture. I want to do like a points kind of prediction of what I feel is gonna happen in those first 10 games. So starting off the season at home to Nottingham Forest should be 3 points. We beat Nottingham Forest 5-0 last season. One of our highest scoring games of the season, and one of our best performances of the season. So yeah, really our new players should have been bedded in by then. We should have had a good pre-season under our belt. We would have played Man City the previous week, so we should have been, up and running for the season. So I expect nothing other than the 3 points. Also, we've got we've got a reason to be up for that game. I mean, I feel like the Nottingham Forest game where we lost 1-0 at the City ground extinguished our titles hopes and ensured that Man City won the league. So I hope the players have that in the back of their mind and yeah, put them to the sword. So I feel like there's an element of revenge in that game. But yeah, nothing other than 3 points in that game is acceptable going into that Crystal Palace game away from home, which incidentally was the opening game of the season last season, where we beat them 2-0 in a game where a lot of people thought we would trip up because we have been doing so in previous years. Just because we won that game doesn't make me feel that they are no longer our bogey team, because I think they're one of a group of teams that we do tend to struggle against, especially away from home at Selhurst Park, with where it can get really raucous. The fans really get up for it and get behind the team. I feel like that's one of the best atmospheres in the league. But once again, especially with Wilfred Zaha expected to leave, although they still have Eberici Eze and Michael Elise and players like that there, I still expect us to pick up 3 points from that game. And if we do manage to get the 3 points, I can kind of say, yeah, for now then, probably not a bogey club, because we would have been 2 consecutive away wins against them. Plus, we beat them at home, so tricky fixture, but I expect us to squeeze out a win in that game. So first 2 games, I'm expecting 6 points. Record against Fulham. It's usually a team that we get 3 points against, and I don't see any other reason why we shouldn't get 3 points again. We usually play Fulham towards the beginning of the season. We did so on the first game of the season about 2-3 years ago and then also we played them within like the first 6 games last season, and we usually win comfortably, like 2 or 3-0 against Fulham. And yeah, I expect us to beat them as well once again. So I do expect 9 points in August going into that Manchester United fixture, which is also a home game. Man United, that's the big rival for me, and I'm sure many Arsenal fans agree that they are our biggest rivals, just probably edging out teams like Tottenham and Chelsea for me. But we do really well against Man United at home. Away from home is another story, but at home we do usually pick up 3 points, and I do expect a minimum of a point. Like, to lose to them is unacceptable because I think we're a better team than them. But this could easily be a draw. But I'm gonna stick my neck out and say another win. So I'm gonna go for a win against Man United. So that would be 12 points out of 12 going into that Everton game away from home. Right, Everton is a team that we really struggle against, especially away from home. At home, we usually slap them up indifferently, but away from home, we've been having trouble against them for years. I think this is one of actually a group of about 4 or 5 teams where we do really bad. But then on the other hand, overall, I think we have a phenomenal record against Everton. In fact, our record against Everton is the best record that a team has against an opponent. So like, I think we've beaten them like over 100 times in our history. I know other side has done something along them lines to another team, if that makes sense. I think that's mainly due to the fact that we've played each other a number of times, because Arsenal and Everton are the two of the teams that have been in the top flight for the longest period of time. So when we do face them, we usually emerge victorious. However, away from home, especially in recent years, we've been doing really badly. We've lost quite a lot of games to them away from home. So I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be our first dropped points of the season. However, it wouldn't surprise me if we drew to Man United and beat Everton. It's probably what's gonna happen. But I'm gonna say we draw this game at Goodison Park. Sean Dyche will probably set up his side in a very tough, in a with a low block in a tough way. Probably have 6 defenders across the back four. You get what I'm saying? Or across the back line, like he did when they beat us in February, which kind of halted up something out of the game. Whether it's a draw or a win, that's another thing. But yeah. So that's probably gonna be our first drop points of the season. So I'll go for the Everton game to be a draw. Okay, so next up we have Tottenham Hotspurs. Them man there, you get me. Um, well, Tottenham at home, similarly to Man United and Chelsea, is usually a game where we pick up 3 points. We usually struggle away from home in the corresponding fixture. But however, we always seem to play Tottenham early in the season, around September and October. I'm sure many Arsenal fans will attest to that. And we usually do get the 3 points, but it's the away fixture where we struggle. So I don't see no reason for that to change. I mean, I know they've got a new manager, but Tottenham have a new manager every season, and that doesn't seem to change the outcome. So I don't expect anything other than another win for us, especially because I think we're just a better team than Tottenham right now. And that's me being unbiased. I just think that they won't be able to live with us. So yeah, I don't want to waste too much time on that. But I expect us to win that Tottenham game. So going into that Bournemouth game, I also expect us to win. That will be away from home. So really and truly, when you deep it, we would have started the season with 4 home games out of 6. So I mean, you've got to really win your home games, don't you? Even though 2 of the top 6 are in there, you should really expect to get at least 3 wins out of 4 out of them 4 home games, and then obviously pick up them them wins against your mid-table sides such as your Crystal Palaces and your Evertons. You know, I expect us to really win them games. Right now, the juicy fixtures coming up in October. Right, obviously the final boss, Manchester City. Okay, talk about bogey sides. That is our bogey. It's probably our biggest bogey side in our history. We've lost literally, I think it's 13 fixtures in the league in a row. That's lose, 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 lose. Like literally, not even a draw. Consecutive defeats over a course of about points. So do the maths. You know, we can't have, because that's a 12-point swing. If we can keep giving Man City 6 points, we're losing 6 points. So that's a 12-point swing. So hopefully we can get something out of the game just to arrest the rot. I would bite your hand off for a draw now just to kind of, you know what I mean, to stop the rot and get the belief back that we can actually get something out of them. But it'll be hard for me to just say we're going to win that game. I have to say draw. I have to back the boys to get something out of that game. So I'm going to say draw to Man City at home. Chelsea away. Yeah, obviously Chelsea have been a side where we have had a tremendous record against in the past few years. I think we're their bogey side. We've been beating them consistently. Of streamline the squad, their squad. They're gonna kind of be tough to beat. I know that they're playing Liverpool at the start of the season, so that's a tough start for them. Hopefully they can start off with a defeat. But yeah, I mean, law of averages suggests that we can't keep beating them every single time. But nah, I expect us to definitely get something out of the game. I'm gonna go draw with that one though. So I've said that we're gonna draw against Manchester City. If it happens, that'll be a fantastic start. Put it that way. But yeah, I'm gonna say we will be unbeaten. And then so obviously now the 10th game is, I believe it's Sheffield United at home. Another home game. First 10 games, I make that 7 wins and 3 draws, which should be 24 points out of a possible 30. That'll be a phenomenal start considering the teams we've had to face in that run. However, when you look at it, a vast majority of them fixtures are at home, especially against the top sides, our rivals. So we really do need to pick up points in them first 10 games. So I think that is very realistic because saying we're gonna draw against Everton away, I think deep down I think we're gonna win that, and I think we'll possibly draw with Man United. The Tottenham game, I think we would win. The Man City one, we could lose. Most likely will lose. The Chelsea one, it's a tricky one because we need to see how Chelsea are shaping up. But I don't think we'll lose that game. You know what I mean? But a vast majority of them fixtures, I expect us to win at least 7 of them games. Be really disappointed if we don't pick up 7 wins from them first 10 games. So the scope, the fixtures that we could drop points for me are Man United, Everton, Man City, and Chelsea. But I don't think we're dropping points in 4 of them games. I think we'll win at least 1 of them games, and we should win the rest. So yeah. But I wanted to talk about just the teams that we owe something to, that we need to avenge. There's a group of them. Where do I start? You got Brighton, you got Liverpool, you got West Ham, you got Man City, you got Nottingham Forest. Where do I start? To a lesser extent, Man United. I mean, that game where we lost our first game of last season to at Old Trafford, I felt we was the better side in that game, but they kind of hit us in a break due to probably tactical naivety and playing a high line, and they just literally took advantage of us with Rashford on the break. But at the end of the day, you could argue on the other hand that it's good tactical awareness from Ten Hag and keeping a good shape and just catching us on a break. So on the other hand, you could say they deserved it in a way. But anyway, I want to save Brighton to last. I want to start off with Nottingham Forest. So obviously they played a very good game in beating us last season at the City ground. So they were really compact. They hit us in the break and they literally defended like their lives defended on it. And that game did two things. It ensured that they remained in the Premier League, ensured their safety, and it also ended our hopes of winning the league and gave the league to Man City. Watching that was really hard. It was one of the hardest games to watch of last season, and so yeah, it was a great opportunity to start the season against them because I'm sure the boys would have it in the back of their mind how they felt losing to them last season. So that there's no greater incentive than to play them and beat them and get our season up and running. Also, I want to say, I want to go into Manchester City. Well, I mean, just the mere fact that they've beaten us so many times in a row, they beat us to the title, we've seen them lift the treble. I mean, what greater incentive now to think, can we actually now compete with these guys? Can we beat them? Can we get something off them? I think we need to focus on actually stopping a rot. Let's just get a point off them. Let's start from basics. Let's stop the losing streak, and then we go from there. So hopefully we start the season with good momentum going into that October fixture against them at home, where we can have the self-belief to think that we can go toe-to-toe with them. We'll have a good opportunity to play to see where we measure against them when we play them in the Community Shield week before the season starts in August. So that would have been the second time we played them in a space of a few months. So I think so this season for me, we need to definitely get something off them, whether it's a point or 4 points or 6 points. We can't lose two games to them if we have any realistic ambition of winning the title. So I think playing Man City will be a good yardstick in how good we are and the progress we've made for this season. Next up is also, I'd say, West Ham, especially the away fixture against them, where we were 2-0 up and we threw it away. Let's be real, we threw that game away. Watching that game was crazy because we played them off the park in the first 20 minutes or so, and then we literally just let it slip, like literally let it slip. And for me now, when we play them, I think it's important we learn from that, and if we get into a similar situation, we got to learn to know that we need to kill off the game. And on that subject, against Liverpool, similar situation. I think the previous week where we went 2-0 up at Anfield, which is one of our bogey teams, and in fact we struggle against Liverpool home and away. I don't want to say Liverpool are only a bogey side away from home because we've only beaten them at home a couple times in the last, let's say, 10 games or so. So I feel like if we can beat them at home, and I don't know, I'll take 4 points against them, another 4 points against them this season. That would be a very fantastic outcome and result if we can get a win and a draw like we did last season. Because I think that Liverpool will have a good season this year. I think they're going to be top three for me. I should expect them to be in the top four, but I think they will be third. That's my prediction. So, but ideally we should go to Anfield and try and win that game because we haven't won there in a while. And if we can win in a place like that, it shows that we're really serious and we're really title contenders. So hopefully we can go there and win, go to Anfield, one of the toughest places in the league to go, and get a win. Lastly, I want to talk about Brighton because I feel like Brighton have actually made the Emirates a happy stomping ground for them. I don't think there's a side that has won there more, obviously with the exception of Man City and probably Liverpool. I don't think there's a side that's won there more. They've won there a good 5, 6 times, and that is a disaster. You know, they've literally made the Emirates their second home, and it's not just us. They've beaten all the top sides of recent. You know, they've done it to Chelsea, they've done it to Liverpool last season, they've done it to Tottenham. So they're obviously a good side, but I think this season we've got to make a point of not allowing them to come here and win. I think we need to take them really serious as a real rival now, because they've been beating us quite a lot of times, and even away from home. Although we did beat them last season, it's generally they beat us, we beat them, we draw kind of thing. Whereas when they come to us, they've been picking up a lot of wins. They beat us twice at home last season, which is a disaster. So I think we must beat Brighton at home next season, especially the last game we played against them. We lost 3-0, which is an absolute mess. That can't happen again. We must beat Brighton at home this season. So on the other hand, I've mentioned the teams that we struggle against. I want to talk about the teams that we traditionally do well against. So basically, teams like Fulham, Spurs, Man United, Chelsea, all at home, and Chelsea home and away. I expect that to all continue next season, especially Fulham. You know, we enjoy playing Fulham. We usually win. We got them in the third game of the season. We've got, in fact, all those teams that we do well against, we've got in the opening 10 games. So there's no reason why we shouldn't continue to do well and beat all those sides, or at least beat 3 of them. Fulham at home, Spurs at home, Man United at home, and Chelsea home and away. We should really be looking to continue that. You know what I mean? So yeah. Also, lastly, I just want to give a special mention to Luton Town, because I feel like Kenilworth Road is going to be a tight, small, compact ground similar to Craven Cottage, Fulham, but even smaller. Also, I feel like Luton will just be fighting for every single game. It'll be like Nottingham Forest last season, where the fans will get behind them. Obviously, they've made it all the way from the bottom tier of English football all the way to the Premier League. So big up them. I just feel like it's going to be a tough game for everyone going there. Just the nature of the ground, the way the fans will get up behind the team. And just, yeah, it's also relatively a kind of derby, because Luton's not too far from Watford, which is just outside North London. So on the motorway wise, it's not too much of a trek to get to Luton from Arsenal. So I just feel like obviously they're going to have extra incentive to kind of stifle us, and they'll probably take a point against us. So Kenilworth Road should be a tricky game. I feel like we need to watch out for that one, and hopefully we can get a win there, because it's going to be really tough to score against. I feel like it's one of them games where an early goal will be pivotal in deciding the outcome of the game. If we can get an early goal, then it will force them to come out and try and attack us. But yeah, so obviously I expect us to have a great season. I'm happy with the fixtures. I'm confident going into the season. So hopefully we can have a good one. All right. I am out.